Hey y'all, welcome to Off the Beaten Path. My name is Kush.
My name is Breezy. On our podcast, we explore the great outdoors and the Second Amendment with a blend of culture,
comedy, and conversation. And oh yeah,
there it is.
All right, America, we are back.
America. Hello, America.
Today is day two.
Day two.
NRA 2026.
Yep.
Houston.
Houston. H-Town.
Beautiful town of Houston, where everything goes down. And today we have an amazing guest. We actually met, was it last year at the marketing?
Yeah, the NSSF Leadership Conference.
Yep. Mike, I would introduce you, but I think the work you're doing is impactful, and I don't have enough words to sum up what you do.
No, dude, I appreciate
Introduce
that,
yourself.
man. Thank you. Thank you. It's good to see you guys.
See you, man.
So I run Walk the Talk America. I started in 2018. Basically, what we do is look for innovative ways to get gun owners help, but also educate the masses about 2A culture. So there's a little bit of, advocacy work.
Right.
There's a little bit of, getting people help when they're in crisis work. And then there's also grassroots programs that we think are the key to reducing negative outcomes of firearms. We're only funded by the firearms industry. We take no money from government agencies, anything like that. And we have no enemies, which is kind of like different, right? Like, how everybody, a lot of people hate us, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of the 2A community, but we actually don't have any natural enemies out there. Even Brady and every town love what we do, which is it's crazy because everything we stand on is super pro 2A and no compromise.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and man,
There's a lot to unpack even in that.
Because your work is so meaningful, and I think a lot of people in our space stray away from this conversation, and you're like, nah, we need to address this head on. And the reason why it's so meaningful to me is because I've had mental health battles. I know Rob had. Everyone does.
Right.
My wife is a mental health professional. What inspired you to start Walk the Talk America?
So one of the things I noticed when I got in the industry, I got into the industry through nepetism. Like
Really?
I didn't know anything about guns. Literally nothing about guns when I got in. They were just like, you're coming to work for the family business. Like, but that actually helped me. It helped me like kind of just observe like what was going on in this industry. First of all, like the people, I loved them. I fell in love immediately. And I didn't grow up hunting or shooting or anything like that. So just like the love that I got from the firearms industry was enough for me to say like, what people think about us is wrong. It's wrong, right? Like it's wrong. So, I did notice that we did not lean into the negative outcomes of firearms.
That's right.
And it's because we knew that it was going to be used against us, right? So there was a time like in the mid 2000s. So I got in 97 was my first SHOT Show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's been a minute, but there was a time when every SHOT Show, there was one less person that used to come hang out at the booth. So I noticed that suicide was a huge issue.
Yeah.
And then in 2009, one of my best friends, who was the president of my gun company, took his own life with one of our firearms. So we bury him and just kept it moving, right? And his funeral was like a who's who. Like there was no articles written about it, And I noticed that would happen a lot. Right? So it's something that stuck in my mind. But in 2018, I was having a random dinner with a stranger who was like, gun neutral. She had gun ignorant. She didn't know anything, but she's asking me because there was some mass shooting that happened. She's like, what happens when a mass shooting happens? I said, everybody blames us. We blame mental health and nothing ever gets done. And she's like, well, why does nothing ever get done? We start talking about that, right? I said, because we just disagree on what will actually stop these things. And she's like, well, how do you work with them on the things you can agree upon? And that's what kind of started Walk Talk America, because I was like, okay, that makes sense to me, right? Like if it saves people's lives, it saves our customers' lives.
Yeah.
Like let's make it make sense. So
I love, No. I just love that you thought that let's have the conversation and bring both sides together. And I love how you got into the industry because it's always unique to hear everyone's story on what their introduction was to the firearm industry and fast forward now to what you're doing. And I just I know this probably be a lot to unpack, but what was that initial conversation? Like, what was it? What was the first step to making that a reality?
Well, first I had to find out if there's an organization like mine that existed in this.
Yeah.
You know, and there were some smaller organizations that kind of touched on suicide prevention, but there was nothing that did like everything. I wanted to solve everything. So in the beginning, you know, I was making phone calls to people that I had probably no business getting a hold of.
Yeah.
Like if you're like, hey, I want to learn how to play basketball, I'm just gonna call this dude Michael Jordan, ask him about free throws. Like I was getting a hold of like these really you know, high level doctors and people in epidemiology and things like that. And I was basically saying, look, I want to stop mass shootings. And they kept pushing me to suicide. And then I kind of realized why, right? Because he's finding the next mass shooter is like finding a needle in a haystack, right? You get 10 people that have schizophrenia, a gun. I'm getting to my point too.
No, that's
I'm just kind of taking along.
I got you.
You have 10 people that have bipolar disorder.
Yep.
Give them a gun, they'll never hurt anybody.
Yeah.
I can come home, catch my wife in bed with my best friend.
Yeah.
Snap.
Yeah.
Right. No mental health diagnosis ever.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So it's hard to pinpoint future violence.
Sure.
So it was like taking this message back here was very difficult in the beginning because we're so used to, okay, all mental health and behavioral health is thinly veiled gun control.
Yeah.
Right. Like the whole narrative is like everything's going to, so it took I had to do, the very first program that I came up with was our free and anonymous mental health screenings. So we have free and anonymous mental health screenings that we put in the boxes of firearms. Like Ruger does it, Arms Corps does it, Bursa does it, right? Like,
Let's go.
yeah, no,
I
it's
need to give you.
We haven't even dropped. Yeah, you can't hear him, but we got him going on.
And it's appropriate because our boy is wearing a Wu-Tang.
We were gonna get to that as well. Yeah.
no. So I remember, you know, because I used to own a gun company. Obviously, this is my family's gun company, but I became the owner one day, and I literally walked in. I was like, I want to put these free and anonymous mental health screenings of boxes of guns, but I didn't know what was going to happen. So I remember having a meeting with like my employees, and I was like, look, I want to do this. I'm not sure if we're going to get in trouble with the NRA. I'm not sure if NSSF is going to get mad because no one
Or even
really,
the customer, like, wow, I'm buying a firearm.
yeah,
You
like,
think
why are you doing that?
Yeah, right.
right. Or are you just sending me in down the river to the gun control?
Exactly.
Yeah,
You know,
I answered this thing right. Like, yeah, dude, I'm having some struggles.
Yeah.
What's that look like?
It was crazy because after about like 4 months, we started getting the feedback coming in, right? And people were calling the office and they're like, hey, I just bought a Bursa. And they're like, I saw this card in there. I just want to thank you. People were calling the office. We were not even ready for like the level of, I want to talk to Bursa because Bursa's addressing this. So we had people like sharing suicide loss stories, people talking about their own personal stories. It was all positive. So after about like 6 months, I knew I wasn't going to get in trouble. I was like, all right, let's step up to the next line. And I was like walking around. I remember Charlie Brown from High Point and Martin Tuason, rest in peace. He just recently passed away.
Yeah.
I remember walking up and I was like, hey, man, I need you guys to put this card in the box. They're like, what is it? I'm like, free and anonymous mental health screenings, right? I was like, we want to keep our customers, you know, mentally right? Like we don't want to lose customers and we want to address these things. And both of them were like, yeah, I could do that. And I remember thinking, damn, it was that easy.
Yeah.
Like all I had to do is ask.
Yeah.
And, like, and then it just started to snowball from there, right?
Yeah.
And then all these other programs started to be developed and, you know,
That's awesome.
now here we are
Okay.
today. So
Do
like,
you guys have anything in place for like teenagers?
yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. We have a program called Kids to Kings. It's the first and only one of its kind, right? So it's basically a program for underprivileged, underserved communities. We bring these kids through the system and then show them firearms ownership in a healthy manner. We introduce it in a healthy manner. So they're not just getting it from video games.
Yeah.
They're not just getting it from hip hop
streets
videos,
or
wherever
wherever it is.
right? And I'm not here to judge that. Like I grew up listening to Wu-Tang and
We have these
NWA.
conversations. I love this theme of our guests saying that because it's going to happen, right?
Yeah. Right. At some
I
point
grew
you'll
up
be
way
exposed
different
to
than
it.
him. He grew up, but we have similar stories of firearms in the streets. Seeing our, you know, I was hunting as a kid, but I still found my way into the streets and saw firearms, and no one had training or, you know, it was just like that was a street gun. Oh man, he's got a gun. So I love that we have these conversations. Super important. So I just want to like,
it just so the listeners know though, we're not just like, hey, let's go out and shoot. Like there's a financial, you know, literacy component to this. We actually introduce like life skills to these kids.
Yeah.
And take them on field trips. If you screw up at school or you're getting, you know, you're stepping out of pocket, like you're not shooting. Right. So like that's the reward.
Incentive.
And last year at the NRA show, we had the kids, because it was in Atlanta, our pilot program's in Atlanta. We had the kids at the NRA show, and I'm taking the kids to every major manufacturer, right? I want to introduce them to the president. I want to introduce them to the engineer. I want to introduce them to any competition shooter that's walking around.
Yep.
And dude, you know how powerful it is to have these kids, because let's face it, where we failed and with minorities as a whole, it's getting a lot better.
Yeah.
But, when I first got to this industry, it just looked like an old white person party, right? Like it was
100%.
right? Like there was no diversity at all. It's getting a lot better. But if these kids or these communities feel like they're not welcome here, we got to do something to change that, right? So having the president of Ruger, or having the lead engineer at Bursa, who's talking to one of the kids with an engineering mind, saying you could come work here one day, or you could be the next gun shop owner in your community, or you could be the next firearms instructor, or you want to be a competition shooter, right? That's impactful and it's inviting, and it's like where we need to start with the industry so the shooting sports don't die out, right? Like
that's it.
Let's go find different demographics. Let's keep our customers healthy. Let's get them started at a young age so they're not doing dumb stuff with a firearm. Like
that was me.
Hey, man. But like put yourself in the shoes of the kids. If you have been exposed to that in a different manner, like
normal. The reason I asked that is because when I was 12 or 13, I know school shootings are more highlighted now, right? To highlight the negativity of guns. But when I was 12 or 13, my group of friends, we were directly impacted because there was one of our homies got killed on the school campus, and I don't ever remember there being any mental health services like once it happened. And then on top of that, we are inner city youth, so it's like, we just go back home, and it's like, no, we grew numb to it, So and that was the first one, because then from there it was like back to back to back, like neighborhood shit too, But it's just like one of those things, like, okay, we're being reactive. We're not trying to be proactive about it. And that's what I like about, you can get a firearm, but if you get a free anonymous mental health checkup, and obviously this is now talking about adults, right? But even at the,
we do it with the kids though.
And see that's what I like.
Every time there's a shooting or something that happens, we process it. We talk about it. You know what I mean? So,
I was going to ask, are you guys like, as far as the outreach like that, what that looks like? Do you guys like actively, if something does happen? Are you guys?
No, we really run the program. It's all based on volunteer work. All like Kevin Dixie, all those guys, all Devin Perkins, they all volunteer their time for this. So we have our circle. If parents find us and say, "Hey, I want my kid to come through this system," we'll take it. We just don't have the. We need, and one of the cool things is I got University of Buffalo doing a research study on the program to see its effectiveness, which I've been begging for years, because I'm just like, I want you to see my kids come through. But at this time, we don't really have outreach for, when something happens. We just discuss it amongst the group. We let the kids process it, whatever lessons they can take from it, like that type of thing. So it's a good program, man. And, last year it was great because I would walk up the kids to all these booths, and I wouldn't say anything, right? And then here's white dude with a suit with 7 or 8 black kids, right? And everybody's like, as soon as they saw them, the way that they handled the guns, something is different, right? And I remember somebody saying these kids handle the guns better than 90% of the people in here. I'm like, because everything they do, no muzzle flashing, no, the trigger discipline on point, everything. And I would always joke around because what is this? I'm like, these are my children.
And but they are.
They are. Right?
I just want them to be like, wait, my brain's broken. But no, then I would tell them what it is, and then people are like, damn, why didn't we have this when I was a kid, or why this should have been around a lot sooner. Once again, who knows what you can't stop anybody from doing anything, but 100%. I want my kids to be able to know about one in the chamber. If somebody is using a gun for whatever the reason, even if it's irresponsibly, I want them to correct them. Illegal, if it's illegal. I'm not here to judge that. I'm here to make sure that everybody's safe and nobody catches unnecessary charges and things.
What that reminds me?
Arm them with that knowledge.
That went viral of Will Smith. Remember the dude who just picks it up and he slaps it down? Because I think people think of entertainers and celebrities as they're That's it. That's their monolith. That's all I am as an entertainer. But
Yeah.
he actually went.
He clearly had some training. Yeah. Knew he was
able
mishandling.
to
Yeah.
firearm and corrected him.
And it speaks home to me because the first time I ever shot a firearm was a negligent discharge, and I didn't understand one in the chamber.
Oh,
I blew a hole in the lawn. Thank God we were smart enough to take it out of the house. But, we found a gun that wasn't locked up and we brought it outside.
Right.
And, I could have used Kids of Kings.
That's amazing.
Where's Kiss the King's based out of?
In Atlanta right now. And,
Okay.
we're about to open up St. Louis.
Oh,
Nice.
awesome.
Let's go. We need
KD's hometown.
we had KD on yesterday. So
Yeah.
Katie is amazing.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
My brother's putting in.
Yeah, he is.
groundwork. And I love
That's
what
a
you're
fact.
doing. You're putting in groundwork.
Yeah,
I
man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You got to keep looking for innovative ways to educate. And I think one of the biggest issues that we've had as the firearms industry is we've never really had solutions, right? So people say to us, hey, we want to legislate you. And then we say, no, that's not going to work. And then a lot of people, are like, well, okay, what's your solution? And we've always been like, Second Amendment, probably from the cold dead hands.
Yeah.
Right. I want to be like, this is what the firearms industry is doing. Like, this is what, these are what we agree, you think are the best ways to solve these issues.
Well, I was going to ask you, because you touched on that. You want to?
No, we're good. Go ahead.
Okay. Because it is a hard line, right? We can't give an inch in a lot of places because it turns into more. So I wonder, like, how you do, how well you counter that, and like what that counter is from you guys to like.
Okay, so like let's use the example of like red flag laws or ERPAs, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people believe that red flag laws save lives, and I'm not here to say that sometimes they don't. Like,
Right,
there's
of
plenty
course.
of anecdotal stories, right?
Yeah.
You like, okay, but overall, so when I speak at an event that's behavioral health or research, I pretty much know that 90% of the crowd in there is thinking red flag laws are the greatest thing on the planet, probably more, right? You know what I mean? But I always like to say something controversial. Like, I could get up there and I'm like, in my world, red flag laws get people killed. And then I could see the audience being like, okay, where is he going to go with this?
Yeah.
Most of them probably think I'm going to be like, cops show up and then there's a shootout. No, I'm like, no. It's worse than that.
Yeah.
It's what happens is you create laws that scare people from getting help, and they're ready to get help at stage 2. And then they don't want to lose their gun. So they're like, I'm not going to, there's a red flag law in my state. I'm going to white knuckle it through. I can't even chance it. Then they get to stage 3. Then they get to stage 4.
Yeah.
Right. So how many people have taken their life because they were afraid to get help?
Yeah.
How many people have just avoided care and lived miserably and their marriage failed or whatever? Now they have a cocaine issue, right? Like,
it looks so different. But everyone might be struggling with that.
But so it's great because most of the times people will come up to me after I speak at these events and say, like, hey, gun dude, like, I never thought about that. I thought you guys just wanted to arm everybody, like those things. Or you're like, no, that's not it. I just want you to look down the field and see, like, we might think it's a good idea. It may sound like a good idea in theory, but if we're making barriers to access to care,
and practicality, then it's not really. I love that because go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You mentioned because I did struggle with mental health. COVID almost took me out. I was hospitalized for 3 months. Ended up in a recovery hospital. Everything kind of collapsed. My bubble in this world, and I remember finally one day, because as a man, we tend to isolate and like, I'm going to push through this, right? You know what I mean? And thank God I have some good brothers like this and around me that could see it, I think. And one day I just finally called for help.
Yeah.
And the lady's like, man, this is what we call the 1,000-pound phone call, right? Because that phone feels like 1,000 pounds when you need to pick it up and call out. So I just want to, touch on that for a minute. Like, man, if you are struggling out there, listening to this, watching us, please reach out to someone, man. We all go through dark times.
Reach out to, and it's temporary.
Yeah,
right? Like that's the most.
There is
important.
man, that's a fact. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's serious. Yeah,
And nothing lasts forever.
No, that's a fact.
An expression my father used to say when we were boys. Man, if you're having a rough day, go lay down, fall asleep, wake up in the morning, and you'll be like,
that's it. It's a new day.
Yeah.
Man, I made this thing 1,000-pound gorilla, and really, it was like.
There's another expression: fear makes the wolf look bigger, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, with anxiety or mental health.
Sure.
You're stressing. If you're so focused on that one thing, you're just inflating it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it takes up all the room in your life.
It reminds me of something my grandmother said to me one time. I remember she was like floating in her pool, and I was stressing over something, and it always sticks with me, and I always say it like to people, and she's like, "Don't worry, it'll work out." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "It may not go the way you want it to, but it'll work out."
Yeah, that's it.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. Yeah, that's a bar.
I
That's
was just
it.
like, wow, like she made it so simple. I was like thinking about it, but it's
Right.
like, yeah, you got to get there, you know.
Isn't it awesome how old folks have a lot of wisdom because they've already lived the
Yeah.
life we're going through?
They've
And
had those
it is so
days,
simple.
right?
It is.
Yeah.
It really is that
Yeah.
simple. Just
It'll all work out.
even if it's not in your favor.
That's
Yep.
it. It all
It'll-
pain and suffering are temporary.
Yeah, you have to figure out a way to center yourself. And like shooting makes people happy, right?
Yes.
Like lead therapy.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
a real thing.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
However it is you center yourself, you got to find that when you're there and understand that you may have to take precautions that go against your core belief system at the time, right? Like maybe it's a good time to get the gun over to your friend's house while you're going through this 3-day crisis, right?
Sure.
Like, or the local gun shop that does safe storage, like maybe take it in there, you know, like just, you know, understand that you're better off here. You know what I mean? And the gun community,
Yes.
the 2A community is such a welcoming community.
It
You
is.
just don't need to lose
Easy,
people.
man.
You know what I
It
mean?
is.
Like,
Yeah.
It truly is.
so it's gotten a lot easier, like circling back to what you're saying,
Sure.
like 2018 to now.
Yeah.
I feel like there's been a nice culture shift,
Yeah.
you know, and I think in the beginning people were kind of looking at me like, okay, what is he doing? And now they're starting to get it. Like, and I want to be able to give gun owners the opportunity to stand on their belief system without compromising anything, but also be able to be involved in the conversation of suicide prevention and mental health.
Yeah.
So-
That's cool.
Man, yeah, we need.
So let's switch spaces a little bit.
Well, where you going?
Where you going?
Where you going?
Well, I want to.
Where are we going?
Man's tie.
Of course, we're gonna talk some music.
We gotta talk some music. But what you got? Another question?
No. I just want to make sure. I think we hit most of the talking points because I think that's super important. I just want to make sure. I know we'll wrap up at the end. I want to make sure people know how to like get in contact with you and if
Absolutely.
there's any, you know what I mean.
We'll
We'll
do
touch
it,
on
yeah.
that. Yeah, we'll touch on that because
Yeah.
I know you said volunteers, and I'd love to like get people involved in this and get in
I
contact with you.
appreciate
But switching gears real quick. Man, where do we start with Wu-Tang? With the Wu-Tang question?
First, let's start with the top 5. Who's your top 5 artists of all time?
Of all time.
Any genre,
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
dead or alive, doesn't matter.
So New Edition is
Let's go. Wow.
New
We
Edition.
get some
is-
curveballs on this.
I see New Edition every way. I've seen them at a county fair. I've seen them in big arenas.
Yeah.
I've seen them in small venues. So I get, you know, you think about all the people that came out of that group too.
Yeah.
So-
Oh yeah.
Right. So, God, man, this is a tough question. I'm breaking it down into different genres.
Yep.
There's a group called Chevelle. I mean,
Yep.
Chevelle speaks to my heart. I don't know. Like, you know,
I've heard of them.
yeah,
I'm
that's,
not familiar
that's
with them.
right.
Same.
I would say I would put NWA up there. That was so much, you know, my childhood.
Of course.
Yeah,
growing up
that was
listening
like
to
a
them.
bomb that went off.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It just changed music, you know, and people were afraid and like,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
kinda like,
yeah.
wow.
What is this?
yeah,
Yeah.
I told you I have my boys in the hood memory of like hearing that song for the first time.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom.
Seared in my memory, like
What'd you
what
tell
is
your
he?
mom?
Yeah, hey, I want to go buy some rap music, Mom. She's like, come on, Bob.
I'm gonna get to the last two. I've been
Yeah.
thinking about this, but I always tell this funny story. So my daughters are 18 and 20,
Yep.
and one of my daughters, huge hip hop. It's huge, and it's cute because she doesn't realize like there's certain things that I know. Like I remember one day she's like, "Have you ever heard of 50 Cent?" And I was like, "You know what I mean?"
that's
Yeah. But it's funny. Like one day we were sitting in the car. And I was playing "N Too Deep," Back to the Hotel.
Yeah,
Remember that song?
Yeah. Gee.
And my daughter's like, play that again. And I played it again. She's like, play it one more time, right? Like she's like, why don't they make music like this anymore? I'm like, I have no idea. You know what I mean?
That,
Like,
the whole rap. I've been talking about that for 30 years. Yeah.
Seems like that's a
That
regular
if you would have paid me $1 trillion to think we would get a reference to that song on the podcast today, that was crazy.
crazy. Yeah.
I mean,
wow.
I grew up in the Bay, so like I grew up with Mac Dre,
okay, yeah,
and
that
40 and the Click, and,
Wow.
yeah, and Spice One.
Yeah, the whole Bay Area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, for you guys, like where do you go with your hip hop? Like,
Well,
East Coast. What?
Well, I'm from the South.
Well, that's interesting though, right?
Yeah,
Because if
'cause-
you know South Florida,
Yeah.
it's a melting pot. We
Yeah.
had dudes from the West. We had East Coast guys.
Yeah.
We had Atlanta guys. So
And honestly, I didn't get into like East Coast hip hop until I was already in my 20s. Because it's so culturally.
Yeah.
we have our own.
Well, it was
That's
also
why we argue.
a little irritating about like the way the East Coast treated everybody else,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
that's garbage.
There was a huge bias for sure, but
Growing up, like I listened to everything. I grew up listening to like Ghetto Boys, College Boys, like all these groups from Texas, and then thinking of like Florida, I grew up listening to Poison Clan, Two Live Crew.
let's get going for that. Shout out JT Money, man. Come on.
Shout out our boy Raylo.
Shout out Raylo.
Raylo.
Yeah.
Raylo's our homie. He's probably one of the most popular DJs in South Florida for breaking some of those guys that you
The Dogs. I remember the Dogs.
Oh my, Disco Rick.
Disco Rick.
Shout out Disco Rick. Yo, I have a funny story with that. I sent my boy with a bunch of music. He was moving to Washington State, and one of his homies out there that he met, he said, Disco Rick and the Dogs. He's like, who is that? And his name is Richard. So he's now Disco Rick in Washington State. That's awesome. But it was cool because we got so many influences in South Florida. I had friends from New York, from Philly, from Atlanta. And so it was cool because we had like the fast Miami-based booty music, also JT Money and the Poison Clan, but I also was bumping New York mixtapes. This wasn't like, this is pre-internet. You don't just, dudes in New York had stuff like years, it felt like sometimes before we didn't sell. They'd come down with dubs, a Hot 97, and we're like, what is this? This is
I remember
crazy.
my brother had a homie who would go to New York all the time for mixtapes. Before 50 Cent was 50 Cent, like, to the mainstream,
right?
I was like, bro, listen to this.
Yeah.
We were like,
those early 50 Cent mixtape days, forget about it.
I remember like How to Rob when that came out. That was the best. I was like, oh my God, he's going after everybody.
Yeah.
Traveling.
That is. So, real quick, then we'll get back to, I know we hijacked the list countdown, but man, I'll never forget, one of our homies brought the single of Protect Your Neck and Method Man. It was a white cassette. Yo, we played that until there was no even right. You couldn't tell what it was just a white cassette at the end. And I think it just finally popped and we're like, we can't wait to get this album. And then it was a wrap. I have a Wu-Tang tattoo on my leg.
Yeah, I mean, they've done a hell of a job too. They still tour. I mean, they come through Vegas all the time.
They'll always have a cult. There is no liking Wu-Tang.
Remember I sent you the meme the other day? It says, if a white guy's married to a black woman,
he's got a Wu-Tang.
He's got a Wu-Tang tattoo.
He's got a Wu-Tang. I was like, accurate. Yeah.
So I would say DJ Quick is up there.
DJ Quick
San Antonio is just like Compton.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely up there. I almost put Mac Dre up there in the top 5, man. There's so much Mac Dre.
We had a Devin the Dude reference. I think KD dropped the
Devin the Dude.
I think, Devin dropped the Devin the Dude reference. I mean,
but Texas has, MGK and
industry.
It does. I mean, its own culture.
What's the not MGK?
UGK.
No, but who's the other one too?
8 Ball MJG. Yeah, 8 Ball MJG. Yeah. R.I.P. Pimp C.
Yeah. Yeah,
Bad Butler, Port Arthur.
Yeah.
What a wave of music.
Man.
All right, now let's get back to who are your top 2?
Well, I was going first New Edition, right?
That's I'm working on
4 or 5.
Is this no particular order? This is okay.
It's no particular order, but man, like anyone from the Bay, I'm a huge fan of like Rappin' Forte and but I also grew up like listening to Second to None and DJ Quick, and I remember High C and all of those. That conglomerate AMG, you know, 50.
I knew it.
That's awesome.
We're in the same demo.
57.
Yeah.
Hard 57.
No.
You guys can't see it, but my man's actually. He's actually kind of trying.
Well, that's why we argue. So this is the age gap. He's a Stillmatic guy, Nas, and I'm an Illmatic guy.
Okay.
Because that was his. So we go back and forth on both classics. But
I'm Stillmatic, everybody.
I forgot Pac. I was a huge Pac fan. Yeah. You know, so I don't know. It's crazy. I become like that old guy with my kids. Like they play music now. I'm like, that's trash. You know what I mean? I just don't get it. Like my youngest daughter, thank God, she loves listening to like Who Riders and things like that, like different. You know, but my oldest daughter listens to trash. It's really bad.
Oh, I know.
I just know I'm getting old. You know what I mean?
20-year-olds too, and I'm just like, man, what is some of this? Some of this stuff is actually damn good.
Right.
That they listen to, but they're they're younger. They're the younger generation. So it's like just.
Some of it, like Big X the Plug, like there's like certain rappers that I like I can Like I like it. I like what they're talking about, but there's others just trash. Like I said, I hate to be that guy.
Yeah.
But.
I mean, we've had a really good conversation. I think we hit a lot of talking points. How your work is powerful.
Yeah.
How can people find you, man?
You go to WTTA.org or WalkTalkAmerica.org, or on social media. We're on X, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. It's at Walk the Talk US. And, people always say like, okay, like if I go there and I want to help, but I don't have any money, that's cool. There's so many ways that you can help Walk the Talk America by sharing our messages on social media and getting the word out there, letting other gun owners or letting other people outside of the industry know that this exists. However people want to help or chip in and things.
Because that's really how we've positioned ourselves. Like we want this to be public facing. Yeah, it's cool for people in the industry, but people that aren't, we want to spread this word.
We're bringing people into the space and then letting them find their way.
That's it.
There's so many textures. We're not the gun.
Yeah, well, I didn't know. I was ignorant to this. I think we all were. I didn't realize how much we'd be embraced.
Yeah.
Like, you're right, man, that this is the most welcoming. We're music heads in the music industry. Not that wasn't welcoming, but I don't think I've seen any other industry that, man, people just will embrace you here and pour their knowledge into you for the most part. There's always gatekeepers and people, but
I mean,
this industry is rock solid. Yeah, for sure.
Everything's going to splinter off. And
for sure,
and things like that. But for the most part, if you're Pro 2A, it's like, come on in.
That's it. That's how it should be. Yeah, exactly. For sure. Is there anything we didn't hit that you wanted to get out to the people?
No, man. I think you guys hit it. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on here. And like I said, if you're Pro 2A and you don't want to compromise on your belief system, and you still want to be involved in mental health and promote suicide prevention, like Walk Talk America is a perfect place because there's nothing else like it. You know what I mean? Like,
for those of you watching,
go ahead. Or listening. No, go ahead.
Or listening, make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend. Go get you a firearm. Go outside.
Empower yourself.
Empower yourself. And more importantly, with Brother Mike here, take care of your mental health.
That's it. And one quick question on the way out. What's your EDC?
You probably never heard of it. It's Grand Power Q1.
Never heard of it.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Grand Power is a Slovakian company. They're brought in by Global Ordnance. Now, I used to bring them in when I owned my importer. So like any Bursa, I love Bursa. Bursa is such a quality gun. Now that I'm out, I can speak freely about certain things. But Grand Power is such a good gun. The way it's built, the way it's made, it has a rotating barrel. That works. It's really unique. They have a Strybog. That's what they're known for.
Okay.
But that would be the one I'm going with every day, So
Mike, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. You were awesome.
I love that this took a turn too. We got to talk about some music.
Yeah, that's it. Had to. You rolled up with the Wu-Tang tie, and we're like, oh yeah, we're talking music. Yeah.
All right, everybody.
Yes, sir.
To the next episode, America.
Let's go.